Here?
Okay, public comment.
None today.
That's refreshing. 4, draft employee handbook. Need a motion. That was, you mailed that out.
I mailed it out back in January, the current version, and then the version that Melissa and I have been working on for about 18 months.
Yeah.
As a reminder, the draft new version, Melissa and I started by working with Hubert Resources, which is an HR company, to take the old one and update it. That was then reviewed at length by Chris. And then after Chris's comments were incorporated, it was reviewed by Mike Miller at Eckerd Siemens, our labor council. So all of those changes are incorporated into the January 14th version that I emailed out to the committee and council.
Anybody have any comments?
Make a motion to move it along.
Okay, it's a motion made. I'll second that motion. Move it along. What that means?
That would be for council approval for adoption.
I mean, you've had all the professionals look at it, and I'm sure there's nobody at council that can interject anything.
Maybe do is probably good. More damaging than anything else. So there's a motion, second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, none, ayes have it unanimously. Item 5.
This is regarding Kim Leninger's position. I had had a conversation with Fred Mogul as the chair of the personnel committee back in January about her schedule and allowing her to work from home 2 days a week through October because of some childcare issues. Spoke to Chris about it as well at Fred's request. Chris agreed that it's within my authority as the manager to agree to allow her to do so, but obviously wanted to make the committee and council aware of it because it, outside of COVID, it's not something that we've done on a routine basis. There are times, I may work from home like a half day if I need to focus in on something, but it's not something on really any routine schedule any administrative staff member does. So with that said, it's an FYI to the committee that we're gonna allow her to do that through October with caveat. There's a 60-day trial period just to make sure that there are no hiccups. There is no overtime that is going to be allowed within that time period. And Kim is aware that she needs to be working somewhere between the hours of 5 a.m. and 6 p.m. for a typical 8-hour shift.
So is she going to be here 3 days a week?
Yes,
Is this a loading 2 days, or is it the same schedule?
Tuesday and Wednesday every week.
Why do you care
Because that's trying to make her available for the general hours. I mean, people aren't calling in here at 5 a.m., but if she would start at 5 a.m., then she would be available through 1 p.m. But really just that she's not doing it from, say, like 4 p.m. to midnight, where other staff members aren't here if we need information. The general public typically isn't coming in and asking questions during those hours. Trying to keep it tied to a typical work day.
And there's some precedence for this. We've done this before with other staff.
I mean, again, during COVID, a lot of us were working remotely for an 18-month period. I occasionally work from home, and I mean, the other caveat to that is if it's a snow day, anybody that can work from home, that work from home.
So for bona fide reasons, which this qualifies as what you allow it.
Yes.
Why would you say no overtime?
Just a little bit of checks and balances because,
Well, but I presume that people are not going to work overtime generally unless it's approved in advance. So why would you box yourself in and say no overtime? Why wouldn't you want the flexibility?
because one, the committee and council aren't approving this, so if she comes to me and says, hey, I have an extra 10 hours I need to work this week, I can tell her that's okay. But I mean,
I'm sure this says no overtime.
correct, but again, I'm not asking for the committee to recommend council approve this, I'm simply giving it as an FYI. So if that would change in the future, I can certainly notify the committee, but I mean, right now, Kim averages 5 to 7 hours of overtime per pay period, and that's inherent No, but it's also CYA for me, just, I'd rather be transparent and upfront that this is happening than cloak it in secrecy when there's no need to.
Right, understood. Okay, item 6, internship request.
Rory Falloon, who is a part-time employee in the summer in our Parks Department, is currently attending Bloomsburg University, double majoring in business administration, with concentration in finance. He reached out to me in January and asked if there was any way we could offer him a summer internship. So I spoke with Phyllis. She's done this before, I believe twice before. She had interns that were either a relative of an employee or like someone in the community that had reached out and asked, and we paid them an hourly rate to sit with her anywhere from 12 to 15 hours a week. She has no problem doing it. She actually enjoys it, I think. And she ran the cost to offer him his current rate of $13.39 in the Parks Department at 10 to 12 hours per week interning with her, at a approximate cost of $1,800 for, it would be a, I believe, 8 to 10 week period that he would intern under her.
Has there ever been a time before we have part-time people interning?
Like an existing part-time that I'm aware of, no.
And the rate of pay, do we ever have paid interns?
Yes.
And is that rate consistent with what we paid other interns?
I mean, the last time we had a paid intern was, I think, 2014, and it was $10 an hour, 11 years ago.
So Phyllis didn't come to you and say she needs help with work.
No, she has a part-time assistant.
Lori asked me and I asked Lori,
And it's a nice thing to do, but if she didn't need the extra help and my observation, teaching an intern takes some of the manager's time. She doesn't strike me as somebody who's got some time to spend on things.
She also would have had no problem telling me no if she didn't want to do it or didn't think her schedule could accommodate.
She has interns in the past?
Yeah. She's actually the only person who's had a paid intern.
There's a big difference between financial and municipal finances. And so I've been told.
And my
Because I am not a financial person.
my
But,
thought was also Phyllis is probably going to retire in the next 2
Well,
years. So it
yes,
might be a no-brainer.
she's already alluded to that 5, 7 years, yeah, I mean, you know,
No, not 5 to 7. More like 2 to 3.
oh, really? Well,
Yes.
then, I don't see problem whatsoever, I mean, as long as it's not taking away from Phyllis's daily activities and duties, why not do it? Let's, nothing wrong with educating people.
and all three of the Flew brothers work for us. The oldest one, called Lewis, I believe he applied for PE, and they live in Borough.
Shameless.
Jeez, yeah.
Best name ever.
It's a good group of kids on the locals.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with it. I will,
You making the motion?
yeah, I will make the motion.
I'll second the motion to recommend the council approve offering Lori Falloon paid summer internship with a business manager, a rate of $13.39 an hour, not to exceed 12 hours per week. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure. It's a
Is
little late now, we
this
passed the
related,
motion.
is this related to his position, or his, is this a student internship, and is there additional paperwork that Phyllis is gonna have to do in order to sort of prove that this internship happens and yada yada?
No,
Does that make?
no.
Okay.
This is strictly
This is
his-
just him looking for work.
This is him looking for an opportunity to learn more about municipal finance because it's related to his area of study.
Okay, but it's not related to any school credit.
Correct.
Okay, just asking, thanks.
Okay, well, the motion was already passed anyway, Jen, but it's a good question. Item 7. I guess you're on.
there was a lot of information handed out,
Right.
you guys have any questions about it? I have 6 guys and I reviewed, I did reviews last year for all the guys. And reviewed these 6 guys and what I provided, you can see their accomplishments and what trainings they've gotten, what lessons they have. And, with Kevin's help, he's here because he contributed to this a lot. Kind of give you a breakdown of what everything is, their start dates, what their current rate is, the proposed rates, what the increase is. And some of the guys are, like Tyler Harris, only, it's only for 2 months. Some of these guys are set to, have an increase pretty soon. 3 of the guys are a ways out. The reason I was willing to bring this in is we put in for a valve machine, during budget time. And we went to, pursue that, and the price of it went through the roof. So we really can't even get it this year. So what we did is we took a look at that, and we can do some of the modification for that project ourselves in-house, which is about $8,000. Also, we're short a mechanic for 240 hours, so we have some savings there in the salaries. I guess the way I put it, we're not asking for any money, we're looking to, just the proper term, but repurpose that money and not spend all the money. What's that?
Where's Steve?
Yeah.
What is a valve machine?
The valve machine, what we're looking for is it mounts to the truck with some modifications, it's hydraulics. So it's a hydraulic valve machine, you pull it out and you set it down on the valve, and the hydraulics do all the work. And it counts all the turns, and the one we're looking at has GPS, so we can enter that into CS data. And that's what Kevin does for us. Kevin has saved us our lowball $150,000 with his expertise and going with CS data instead of another GSI program.
Has this been something we've done in the past, adjusted rates based on
Yeah.
merit?
We've done it, I wanna say 2 to 3 times in the past 18 months.
Okay.
We can do it here, we don't have to.
No, so I mean, to go back to Jenna's comment, 1, Greg and I had a conversation with Steve about this after the January infrastructure meeting. But 2, the motion is to send it to the finance committee.
But okay, so it wasn't budgeted, but in the agenda, it looks like there's an offset about 10.5 because of the open mechanic position.
Yeah, that was, so I didn't use that much this year in salary.
Okay.
And,
But the balance, the 23 left, the 23.5 left is not budgeted. Just so we're all clear, correct?
If
The
you,
rate increases is about 34.
the potential net is 8,643.
Brad, look at,
There's a discrepancy between the agenda and the worksheet, and part of the discrepancy is Tyler Harris is not in the agenda list of employees.
well, I wouldn't have used that.
And I don't know if the dollars were left out also in what's on the agenda.
Yeah, cause I think I only have the 5.
This is the one you want.
I know, but that's not what I have when I was preparing the agenda. So I mean, can we add Tyler Harris and correct the dollar amount?
Yes. Okay. Motion's needed to recommend this to, or defer to finance, for review before it goes to council.
Is the rate increase correct?
The dollar amount? The dollar amount on the agenda is not, cause the total would be $30,798.15.
I'll make the motion with the correction
And to also please include Tyler Harris.
That's what I meant by, yes,
We add Tyler Harris to the employees getting a rate increase.
Well, actually, there's two different sheets, and help me to understand. There's two different sheets in the worksheets. One totals up $30,798.15, the other one totals $33,909.92. So what's the difference?
I can tell you what the difference is. So Kevin and I did one, and then for further review, I gave it to Phyllis to really make sure things are right and narrow it down, and that's what we finally came.
Okay, so the final one, is it $30,798 or the $33,000?
The one that has the overtime factored in is the one.
Yeah, so 33,909.92.
is 33,902.
Yeah, that is, that.
909.92.
I did, yeah, that's one of them.
909.
Okay, so the number is correct in the agenda. The only thing that's missing is Tyler Harris's name. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's a net potential savings about $87 million.
How do these proposed rate increases compare to standard merit increases?
It's a contract.
Yeah.
All their increases are based off of the contract.
Okay.
Which are currently years of service.
So they're just advancing to the next level, so they don't need to argue.
Yes.
Sooner than they would, yes.
Sooner.
So that's the number of pays. So how far advancing are we putting some of these guys into their years of service?
Well, just look at their start dates.
Okay.
You can, there's a column here, that says number of pays in advance.
So to reach top rate, you have to be 6 years of service.
Okay.
After the first year, you go up to 27. After the third, is it after the third year? Fourth year? So it's the second year, the third year, and it's like fifth year.
So when we're not saying number of months in advance, so here you're, just to make sure I'm understanding, so we have the two sheets, you're looking at the top sheet, and you said we should be looking at the bottom sheet for the correct numbers?
No, the bottom sheet I think is more confusing because it's breaking it down by pays. This shows you actual months.
Okay.
So if you look at,
The maximum number
Here.
appears to be 9. I think.
to me, that's more confusing than knowing straight months because.
But it's the number of pays in a year, so everything's less than. Are
No.
we weekly, bi-weekly?
We're bi-weekly, it's not the number of pays per year, it's the number of pays in advance of their hire date that would bump them to that next rate. So to me, it's more confusing if you're looking at pays, because I have no idea which months we get 3 pays versus 2 pays.
Okay.
That I think is just easier to look at it in terms of.
So these would all be rate increases we would expect to see
This
later
year
in this
anyway.
calendar year. So
Yeah.
we're just looking to advance those pay increases earlier in the year.
Yes.
Was that going to still want the entire schedule, or would you want to keep the anniversary?
No, it still goes by anniversary date in the future.
Are there going to be morale problems with some people getting raised 2 months in advance, and others 5 months in advance?
No, the goal is the more work you put in, the more licensing you get, the more experience you get, you should get compensated for that. Just to be here for 6 years and reach top rate, that's not a great strategy. Because somebody can sit idle for 6 years, and then they're making all kinds of money with maybe not the knowledge and skills we'd like them to have. It's motivation.
And everybody knows if they do certain activities, they will get the opportunity for this advancement.
Yes. Yeah, any kind of licensing is put out there, any kind of training is put out there. We try to keep everything transparent so everybody has the opportunity.
And there is language in the CBA that says management reserves the right to do this.
Okay, I believe,
Yes.
the chair, council chair made the motion, I'll second it with the correction with the Tyler Harris name. He's not in the, on the agenda. Any further discussion? Any discussion discussion, Jen? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, ayes have it. Mr. Brunner's figure it out from this point forward. Item 8, Wyomissing Maintenance and Parks Association, MOU.
I had notified council, I believe at the January meeting, that the Parks and Maintenance Association, Maintenance and Parks Association, had decided to affiliate with Teamsters. That was approved through the state, I believe at the end of December. With that, Greg and I met with Kevin, who is one of the borough's union reps, as well as Dylan Moore, who is the union president, and Dylan Cerulli from the Teamsters. The Dylans get confusing. To talk about this MOU, which effectively spells out under Teamsters collection and payment of dues, since it's currently spelled out in the CBA from the association when they were not affiliated with Teamsters. So this is really clarification purposes, just to get it on the record between the borough and the union prior to their new contract, which will go into effect in 2026.
So this language requires the union to certify to the borough in writing each month a list of the members who have furnished, the required authorization to pay the dues. So, or to be a member of the union and they agree to have their dues deducted from the pay. So that's just an administrative thing, the borough's gonna need to look out for that, make sure that you get that monthly certification from the union. Because not every employee in this department is automatically subject to this. It's only those employees who have signed the authorization form with the union.
I think they have 100%.
I should add Labor Council reviewed this as well.
Yeah, okay, but I just, I just wanna make it clear, this is not automatic, it's only those members of the department who have signed that certification form with the union. Which, if it's 100 and it's always 100, that's fine, but
It
it's just.
wasn't previously, but it sounds like it will go to 100.
Okay.
So that would be whoever pays their monthly dues, then that.
Well, it's.
No, it's the other way around.
It's whoever says, I want
Want to
my
pay.
dues to be
Deducted.
deducted.
Ah.
That's what it means.
Is there a timing issue? How much in advance of payroll is wrong? Would they have to do that list?
I mean, it's already being done now. We've deducted dues from payroll since the inception of the association. So, I mean, my assumption, unless someone tells Phyllis otherwise, she's gonna continue to deduct from, so she's always been deducting from, and otherwise, you would present us the list, she would make that update for the next pay period, and if dues are retroactive, she would make a double deduction for that payment moving forward.
And the CBA terminology has this concept in mind.
Yeah, well, the current CBA has this language, but it doesn't spell out the Teamsters because
Oh, yeah, I mean, no.
they weren't affiliated with the Teamsters.
But it provides for any
Yes,
deductions.
yes.
Okay. Motion's needed to recommend the council approve execution of this MOU. Is there a motion?
So,
I'll second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, ayes have it unanimously. No need for an inter-office memo. Right here
It's still a
today.
thing?
Oh, yeah. As you get older, you do more. Is there any need for executive session? None. Okay.